So at its heart, YouTube is pretty simple. It's just know your audience and make videos for them. That's all I've done on my main channel, and it's grown to a size where it's more than replaced my income. That sounds obvious, know your audience and talk about something that you know about. Teach something you know and love to a specific group of people. And honestly, it can't fail to find an audience on YouTube. Once you figure that out, that's all that YouTube is. I mean, sure, there is a lot to learn, but none of it should stop you just making content. iPhones are pretty good, and the sound out of your 3-year-old Android phone will be good enough as well. Just use the main camera and point it at yourself, keep it close enough, and I can promise you'll get good enough video and sound out of that. Nothing else to worry about. Sure, you'll probably want to expand beyond that once you have found your voice and once you've found your audience, but initially you just need to start. And probably the least friction to doing that is to film and edit and upload all from your phone. So if I recommend doing things from your phone, why do I not use my phone? Well, I think once you get to using a full editing platform, then it does become a bit more frustrating because I then have to take the file off the phone and put it onto the PC and work with it in the editor. It's just not as straightforward. And also, if I only ever used my phone, then I would have maxed out the storage on this thing a long time ago. And after you've made a few videos, the first advanced technique that you should be looking at is storytelling. I expect I'll be talking to you about storytelling quite a lot. There's a couple of structures to look at. There's Freytag's pyramid, or there's the 3-act structure. And although I really prefer Freytag's pyramid, I think the 3-act structure is probably the simplest to just getting started straight away. It's the simplest of stories because it just starts with setup, conflict, and resolution. It works in 30 seconds and it works in 2 hours. It's just a story. So just start. Just start right now. Whatever type of creative you are, just start by making a 30-second short vertical video. Think of a setup, a conflict, and a resolution. Film in vertical orientation on your phone. Put it together with a YouTube Create app and then just post it. And then the next day, think about what you could do better next time and have another go. It won't take long and you can subsume that into your daily routine. And what you'll do is you'll develop that storytelling muscle. Eventually, you'll be ready to tackle a longer story. Let's do one now. You want to get people to listen to you on social media. But they don't watch your content all the way through. So it's not getting recommended by the algorithm. The thing that you need to do is to get good at storytelling. Try the setup, conflict, resolution framework. There we go, 30 seconds filmed. To get people to listen to you on social media. I can actually see where I've started and stopped speaking here by the little waveforms just on the video feed there. Not getting recommended by the algorithm. And one thing I can do better is to make sure that I maintain eye contact with the camera just a little bit longer at the start and end of each clip. So I'm just gonna get better the next time I do this. The thing that you need to do is to get good at storytelling. Try the setup, conflict, resolution framework. I just will put the text on screen, setup, conflict, and resolution. But they don't watch your content all the way through, so it's not getting recommended by the algorithm. The thing that you need to do is to get good at storytelling. There we are. So how long did that take? I mean, I'll put it on the screen now, but I think that was about 5 minutes from start to finish. And now I'm just gonna go upload as a YouTube short. Now, at the very opposite end of this, but still the same core principle, are books. And it's the same thing, it just becomes knowing your audience and write a book for them. I've written several, I think I've published 5 books so far. And this is the main one for this channel at least. This is how to start and grow YouTube education channels. It is really simple, as I've said, just teach something that you know and love to a specific group of people. But this will give you a lot of the technical details that you might want to consider as you grow. It'll also give you a hand and give you lots of little activities that you can work through, but really you should start by doing. And it's really gratifying to me that I've got some reviews on this of real people who have benefited from my advice in starting their own journey on YouTube. The audience for this book were people who were like me 5 years before I wrote it. People who were teachers just starting out their YouTube channels. But it could apply to anything that you're good at. And think of a training course that you run at work, or think of something that you're now the master of in your job and you feel like you teach that to other people. Let's just talk about this, my journey. Like, if all I'm saying to you need to do is find something that you know a lot about, that you love, and teach to a specific group, just what might you teach? I'm just interested to know what your sort of areas of expertise are, really. Okay, I teach sales, account management, and selling skills. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So there definitely will be a audience out there for people wanting to know those things. And if you're an expert, if you can talk fluently on those things, just plan out a little bit like I've done today, a bit of bullet points, turn the camera on, talk to it, put it out there and see what happens. And I think, yeah, and then you sort of develop on the job. Make it low lift, make it low jeopardy at first, and just develop as you go. It's fun. It really is. I just thought of all the things that I knew now that I wish I knew when I started. And it is quite a beautiful thing that now you can publish your own work without any help from a traditional publisher. The platform that you should probably be aware of is Kindle Direct Publishing, because that will let you not only make a Kindle book, but also a paperback like this. And it will get you out to probably the largest group of people in the Western world. But there's also what Smashwords has become, which is called Draft to Digital, but that will only let you make a ebook. You might well want to actually have some paper copies, and in which case Kindle Direct Publishing is for you. And these are print on demand, so you don't have to hold an inventory, and Amazon can just print them one at a time and ship them to whoever is asking for them. I would have in mind the kind of target of 100 pages, because 100 pages is how long it needs to be to at least fit your title and name on the spine. And for vanity's sake, you probably want that. Maybe that's something you can relate to. Let me know in the comments if you've got an idea that you've always wanted to turn into a book. And also let me know if you'd like a step-by-step guide of how you actually bring a book into reality. There's an often quoted stat about how many novels are started versus how many actually get finished. It's something around 3% of manuscripts are ever finished, and only about 0.5% of manuscripts are ever published. But that being said, there's an amazing number of books actually published, somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million per year in America, just from traditional publishing, and about 3 times that at least through self-publishing. So making and publishing your book is definitely possible. And you become then the author of that book. I actually have about 5 books which are sort of at that first draft phase, and I've never really got around to publishing. I think part of that is that I didn't do the audience research first. And I think that's probably what leads to a lot of people not finishing their books, is that they don't think of the audience. They just think, I would like to write a book, rather than why somebody else would like to read their book. And that's the reason to start on low jeopardy things like making YouTube shorts. And you can find that audience out there in the open. You can let that content find an audience and learn about them with things that take a lot less time to create. You can hone that skill of storytelling, and like me, you might be totally surprised at where it ends up. One word of caution though, avoid using AI, at least very much at first. Later, you might realize what it's good at and what it's not so good at, and you might therefore find a use for it within your creative journey, but you need to make sure that you are mastering the skill of storytelling. Write, and then think about it for a bit, and then improve your draft, and then write some more, think about it, and improve your draft. And sure, at some point you might want to put those drafts into AI and ask its advice, but don't just take its corrections for you. Take its advice on where you could change and improve things, and then think about how you could improve things, and then write. In my writing, I use AI as just a better thesaurus, really. If I've got something that I want to say and I want a more concise way of saying that same thing, perhaps I've got a full paragraph that I've written and I want to try and replace that with a sentence that amounts to much the same, then I can quickly get some ideas of how to summarize that. Maybe ask it for 4 ideas and pick the one that actually fits your tone the best, rather than think that it's going to do a great job of writing something compelling. I always think of AI as a bit like a C grade student or a trainee. I wouldn't ask a C grade student to write something for me and then put my name on it. I might, however, ask that C grade student to do a bunch of research for me, or to gather a bunch of quotes about a certain thing, or maybe to read something and give me some honest thoughts and advice about what you think about it so far. we find it quite hard to self-edit and be truly critical of ourselves. So that's where an editor comes in. And ideally, you would have an actual human be your editor for your writing, but that might be a bit expensive. So if you can ask AI to act like your editor and give you some ideas and some prompts of things to think about and improve your work, then that could be a perfect use of AI. Or perhaps people don't finish their books because it is harder to hold together a story arc through 100 pages or through 500,000 words than it is through a 30-second short. But it is the same feeling that pulls an audience through a 15-second clip as pulls an audience through War and Peace, for instance. You have to get the audience into a sense of flow where the experience of the story is all-consuming. And so my advice is to start short and work your way up to longer pieces of content. Little things like, well, I looked on my book on Amazon and there's a review of it, and in the review, there's a few reviews, but one of them, this gentleman was actually taking a photograph of his book and said, "I love this book, it's amazing. I've been annotating it as I've been working through it." And I thought, that's incredible. Somebody, this is a teacher, I think a gentleman in Australia, has actually been using my book and he's taken the time, he's learned so much from it that he's actually leafed through it and annotated it as he goes. So that's incredible. He's started his own YouTube education thing for his students. That's amazing. Even that one person, it's an incredible thing, isn't it? I hope you're seeing this isn't going to turn into the kind of channel where I'm just going to give you sort of hacks and get rich quick schemes and YouTube automation and things like that. That's not something that I'm interested at all. I mean, I really love getting into making the videos. I really love seeing the story being built in the editor, for instance. I really love deep sessions writing on e-ink, for instance. And I think this is what it's about. It's about learning to be a happy creative, happy in your process, happy engaged in making, in building something. There are lots of people out there sharing hacks and quick fixes for things, but this channel is about building a manageable and sustainable creative life. It's not really just going to be about YouTube either, as I'm talking about writing today. It's going to help you with whatever your art form is. And if you want your art to be fulfilling, you're never going to get that from running some kind of AI automation. I might discuss the use of AI, but it's always going to be about improving the quality of what I put out and enable me to do better in less time, not about being lazy. Where it's not objectively an improvement, I'm just not going to use it. And I think the more that I talk and think about my audience, I think I might have hit on something here, that actually the total addressable market of this channel is actually going to be pretty large. Because lots of people do want to do this, to tell their stories in one way, shape or the other. And the place to do that is something that I love and I can teach about quite fluently. At the minute, the place to put your name out there is YouTube.